I love Laboheme because you can just take it from so many sides and you can picture it in so many ways, because artists have always been a subject of interesting lifestyles, and you can pretty much find it everywhere in the world and in whichever time frame. So
okay, but Andjela, where are you from originally?
I'm actually right now in my beautiful home country, which is Montenegro.
Oh, wow.
I'm really, really happy and blessed to be born by the sea and to have grown up here in this little tiny sea town in Voka Bay, just on the borders with Croatia. It's very small. I think we have like 20,000 people who sending to live here. So it's pretty peaceful, and yeah.
And your English is very good. You sound almost American.
Yeah, I get it a lot for some reason, yeah. Really? Yeah, but all musicians for some reason adapt to some kind of accent when learning any language, I think so. So I think that's how that got into me.
So did you start singing there? Or what was the first instrument you played?
I actually played piano for quite some time. That's how I got into music. So yeah, I started here as a 6-year-old, I think, and then it just I played piano actually. I was on the verge of playing it professionally, but it just didn't happen for me. It was just too much of a sacrifice to ask a 12-year-old for, and it just never happened. So when I got a little more mature, I tried out singing, and that worked pretty good, I'd say, so far.
Yeah. And in such a small town, were there the opportunities for you, or were your parents very much in tune with with your talent and so?
Yeah, my parents never really forced me, but they did their job of kind of giving me all the options, making sure I have all the options, and then the decision was pretty much mine. But yeah, I think I was 16 or 17 when we decided that the next move should be probably moving to Montenegro's capital, Podgorica, where we had like a music center and more resources and a pretty good high school for everyone who decided they want to continue to have to do something with music. That was probably a good decision, because I think that's where I learned the most, and it was pretty important for me, because I think that's when and where I got some clarity on what it really means to be a musician, a professional musician, and what's actually going to be asked for me in years to come. And also transitioned to Vienna from my music school in Podgorica wasn't that dramatic, because I was befriended with so many people who actually did not go to like specifically musical schools before, and I know how much of a struggle it is to just find your peace once you really know that you made the snap and you're really, that's what you're doing now. And
I think it's what we don't always realize is that from a very young age you have to make the right decisions and get to the right teachers and the right exposure, because this helps you then to, for example, you came to the MDV. But of course, the audition process is also very strict, and the competition, of course, and it's that path that you have to go, where it's not just you, it's also your parents having to make a few sacrifices, I think, and be there to support you and get you to the right people.
Exactly. But yeah, never is too late. So, and it also changes over time. Some people are, at some point, they just stop being right for you. That does not make them wrong or bad teacher or people in any way. Sometimes a path just comes to an end. And I love it on MDW. There is no stigma with changing teachers and on any Abteilung, so far I know. And we're just encouraged to find our own. And when development stops, it's way less toxic to just say it and try to find someone who gives you something more than stay in that kind of relationship with your professor. And yeah, so you don't hurt any feelings. And that's not what anyone wants at the end of the day. They all want the best for us.
Yeah, it's like one ballet teacher once said, is sometimes somebody says the same thing but just in a different way, and it's then that you pick it up and that you need to pick it up from just somebody else, and it's true that you say that this is also important from the teacher's side, that they realize that. I think they realize it as well, that sometimes you need somebody else to be there for you. So then you came to the MDV, and now I see on this Facebook ad that you posted that you are singing Musetta in Laboheme. Tell me about this production.
Yeah, so our leading woman in that project is Heather Tan, our amazing director. We actually met on MDW when she directed her Zauberflöte, which was her like ending exam for bachelor, I think, at MDW, and it was just so great. It was not what I was used to, like when working in opera projects. There were just so many people, and it was kind of chaotic from time to time, but it worked so well. And then Heather announced she's going to Widman this whole year to Laboheme, and she's doing her third bohème right now, or third, and I think 2 more are in the plan. And I got chance to audition for Musetta, and I actually got a place in this one. Yeah.
And so, have you started rehearsing already?
Yeah. We were rehearsing from mid-July. We had musikalische Probe with our conductress Hannah Eisenle, and we worked with Heather also for some time. We have kind of a we have a broad picture of what the scenes are supposed to look like, and we are seeing. I'm flying to Vienna on Sunday, so I guess that's when we're gonna continue with intense rehearsing. But yeah, we had this problem with COVID, of course, because our performances are scheduled in Slovenia. Originally in Maribor, but that didn't work out because they are facing strong corona measures, and that is not going to work. And we were practically ready to cancel the performances, but the whole artistic team in Slovenia and Heather kind of tried to hold on to that, and it looks like we are going to switch our performance to 5th of September and actually do it in Ljubljana. But I'm gonna keep you up, and we're gonna see how that turns out. Yeah.
And tell me more about this production. Who, how is it? Is it set? Is it this traditional Laboheme as we know it?
I love Laboheme because you can just take it from so many sides, and you can picture it in so many ways, because artists have always been a subject of influencing lifestyles, and you can pretty much find it everywhere in the world, and in whichever time frame. So our Laboheme is going to be placed in Vienna in COVID lockdown.
Wow.
And we're going to see how artists actually manage to cope with that. I mean, they pretty much do not cope with that, considering one of us dies. But it's
that's amazing.
It's going to be quite, yeah.
Oh, that's very interesting. So it's set in there, but the music stays the same, and it's just the setting then, basically.
Exactly. So we have Mimi is actually costume designer from Serbia. She's working side jobs to support herself. Rodolfo is a rapper. Marcello is painting cemeteries to survive, to make a living. Musetta, we kept Musetta, singer. She's already famous and striving and singing in Wiener Staatsoper, as far as I know.
Really?
Yeah, it's much fun. Our Alcindoro is actually a woman. It's gonna be the role is gonna go to the fabulous Brigitte Listra, and we're just gonna have so much fun. Although we try to really have respect to the Puccini and the thing that he wanted. So I don't think anything actually got out of the picture from the important stuff. Yeah.
Oh, I love this. But you say it's going to be performed in Slovenia, not here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we actually had one performance with other casts in June in Vienna and in Kunstbogen with other casts, of course. But I think we are planning another performance in Vienna in December with our cast. But we're gonna see how it turns out with everything that's coming. I'm really not sure at this point.
Oh, you have to let me know. I would so love to. No, I was actually talking to an opera singer in South Africa a while ago, and they did the same type of thing. They took Carmen and they changed it to be relatable in the townships in South Africa. And, all the same music and everything, but just in that culture. And, I think it's sometimes great. I love the classics and I love it staged in this 100% classic way. But I do like it when people take these storylines and change it and adapt it to, to more something that we can relate to.
Exactly. And it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
We a few years back, I saw this Laboheme production from Paris Opera House. It was staged on the moon, which is probably not my cup of tea. But it got so much hate. It got so much bad press, which we have been performing operas for practically 300 years at this point, and we need some new take on them. I also love classics. I love traditionals, but I also think modern productions have their own place. And
exactly, yeah. I think in a way it will also bring a younger generation to the opera, and associate or give them something to be able to relate to, and then introduce them sort of to the music. Because I think in this, I sometimes think that the distance between the classical world and the normal person is sometimes bigger, and that it's the opera feels like it's way above some people, and young people don't have always that interest. But now productions like this, and for example, I saw an opera in a garden now in the summer, and I love that. I think it's a wonderful way to connect with people, on a totally different level than just the normal setting of opera house and opera singers and so on.
You're very much right. I'm absolutely of the same opinion. Yeah, yeah. I'm I kind of have mixed feelings because I think Staatsoper should probably stick to traditional productions, but also in Vienna you have different communities like Theater an der Wien, you have Kammeroper, you have so many theaters who option for actually doing something a little bit more, yeah.
I totally agree. I think you go to the Staatsoper to get something traditional. I mean, I think it's that's what you go for, and it's the same with Musikverein. You go to the Musikverein for that specific concert. But I did think a lot over the period now of the pandemic, how many students started playing in the streets and in the parks, and how how it attracts a different audience then as well. And I think it's not making the standard lower. I think it's attracting people to go to the Staatsoper then and to go to the Musikverein, because you meet them on a level where they can easily relate. I think a musician in a park with jeans and a t-shirt and or a little ensemble or a quartet, or playing and having fun, would so easily attract somebody who would then maybe later on think, hey, I would love to see what this is like in a concert hall.
Absolutely, yeah. I just think the big part of people actually not going to theater and opera and just exposing themselves to classical music or classical art is just being intimidated, and actually being intimidated by everybody, by the older audience that they just kennen sich gut aus and that are really fluent there, and that could be a part of that. But I also love the trend of just art becoming more accessible and less hermetic, and more. You have Gretchen, you have also Musikverein has some sort of abo for younger people, for students, and I just love to see it happen in Vienna, because it's such a big musician community, and it probably should start somewhere. I love that it's here.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And I think it's like you say, it's sometimes intimidating, and it's also the cost sometimes. Young people, it's not cheap to go to the Musikverein or to go into the Staatsoper, and it's that, I think the more we expose people to art and good art, the more we ensure that a younger generation start having interest and start being inquisitive, because of course you have years and years of study. So yes, you have a specific standard that you live up to, and that you want to also present. But to get the people, I think, into the theaters, I have a feeling that it should be done this way, like you are doing now with this Laboheme. So exciting. I love it. So, and tell me now, where are you about in your studies at MDV?
I am just done with my 4th semester.
Yeah. Was it difficult now during COVID to do your lessons?
3 out of my 4 total semesters were done in COVID environment. So it was the last summer semester, that was 2020. That was pretty hard on us all, but I think later we just figured it out and kind of kept up with it and tried to do our best. And our institute was really tried to keep us open whenever, and yeah, however they could. They really tried their hardest, and I think that we pretty much had our Einstein lessons with our coaches and professors pretty much all of the year, except for like brief time in November and March. But I very much value that, because for solfeggio and music theory and other music like Vorlesungen, it's fine. We can survive it. It's not a deal breaker. But when you have to have your coachings, your solo quota, or your singing lesson for 4 months online, which some people in Europe actually had to experience and had to go through, it's absolutely, it's a suicide for the voice. It's a suicide for the technique, because your professor has not heard you sing live for like 4 months at that point. And that's not healthy. And it's just there's so many better ways to do it. And but again, I am fully I have an understanding of how hard was it for universities to coordinate and try to keep up with all the rules, new rules always coming up, and to kind of try to keep their students happy and progressing. Yeah.
Because it's also about the motivation, because many also said that they felt a little bit disheartened at times, and felt a little bit, what is it worth carrying on? And did you also have that feeling at times?
I did not. I know people who did, and it's absolutely, it's normal. And yeah, I have so much love for people who actually did, and for people who actually had to draw a line at some point and say, this is actually not working out. I have to, for whatever reason, stop. It's such a hard decision, and I'm sure they really did their best to not quit, but it was really a matter of having to do it. But as for me, this whole situation has motivated me very much more, and I have to think that I actually have progressed more in this last 2 semesters than ever in my singing life. So that's good, at least, I guess. Yeah, motivation and inspiration are everywhere when you actually want to find them. And yeah.
What was it that you think made you progress so much more?
I just was completely honest to myself, and I'm very much about tough love as a person. And I was just clear and honest to myself, and I was like, okay, you can do this. You can just continue to walk through a pandemic, just being like, okay, this is not optimal, this is not great. You are seeing your professor once a week, you are not getting as much as you normally could and would. And then I was like, okay, but there's a second option. You can just work alone. You can learn 10 roles, and that's what I did. And it turns out that it was a great decision.
Really?
Yeah, because once you have some kind of result, then you're just pushing yourself, and it works. And this phase is gonna go away, like, I'm sure of it. But you can always find the little spark that pushes you and try to live on it as much as you can and as long as you can, and try to be productive on it.
I think you're right, because I think sometimes when you learn something and you have the ability to look at yourself, or to look at what you've done, and you can praise yourself, or you can be realistic and say, well, this didn't work, or well, this worked, and that also builds a type of self-confidence, So I think in that sense you did the right thing, and you will probably in your career also then use this way of working of being able to work at your own pace for yourself as well, which is, I think, also important to learn to do, you know? So, yeah. Well, tell me now, if just on a lighter note, before a performance, what do you do? Do you have little rituals, or do you have a specific routine?
Oh, before performing, where my ritual starts months before I actually agree on a role. I just cannot appear to like the first rehearsal without knowing it the way I should know it. Mm-hmm. And I think like the further motivation and productivity just comes from that. Mm-hmm. And the whole process of rehearsing, it's so much fun. It's so great. We have so many great conductors and directors on our university, and they always have so much great ideas. And I just love when we are included and we can kind of make their ideas happen as singers, as performers. And it's so great to see your conductor and your director happy. Yeah, because you're like a little puppet, and just using all your artistic personality to just make something happen. And that moment where your project actually comes, it doesn't happen on premiere. It actually happens on like second or third Hauptprobe, when you actually go through it. And all of you kind of see the magic happening when you actually have to figure out like scene transitions and the doors. Come on, doors are always such a big problem for some reason.
Really?
And it's just a whole another person's job. It's for some reason. But that moment when everyone gets the sense of this thing that we created, and it just becomes so real. And
amazing.
Then comes the third Hauptprobe, and then we are all so tired and so done with it. But then hopefully there is another Sunday somewhere in between, for us to kind of preserve that, but also get some peace and sleep. But when it comes to literal rituals before shows, I don't think there is any. I just try to sleep well and just keep myself happy. Give yourself anything you need. Yeah.
Do you have a specific meal that you eat before the time? Do you eat before a performance?
I do eat, but I just try to keep it healthy to an extent, and just feeling so that you can survive without snapping, as that's probably what's not that good. Okay. But nothing special really. You just listen to your body and figure it out. Yeah.
Well, I've heard of a conductor eating sushi before a performance, and I've heard of a violinist who eats a bowl of cereal. So I'm hearing all these stories about what they do before the time. So
those conductors and violinists are the people who are trashing singers so much for being so, made from sugar and so fresh and so like breakable. But that's not what I'm getting here. No, I really don't know. What would I have like from those fixed rituals before? It's certainly not food. Maybe I come up with something in the future, but it's not going to be because we're dependent of it. It's probably just going to happen because it makes us happy, and it makes us kind of come down and be really calm and relaxed. So it's kind of those daily pleasures.
But this was so lovely to talk to you now, and I'm so excited about this production. I would really love to see it when it comes to Vienna. Please let me know. Or if there's no, would there be a recording or something where it would be possible to see it?
I do not know that at this point, but I'm gonna do my best to send you over some tickets. In
that
case
would be so lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be so lovely. Okay. But have a lovely time. I see are you at your parents' home?
I am.
Okay. So have a lovely time with your parents.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye. Have a
Bye.
good day.
Bye.